This is round one of a constructed tournament that we had at Portland Game Store in Portland, Oregon. The top of the screen is a local player named Ben playing Harbinger, and at the bottom of the screen is another local player, Alexis, playing Animist. So they're getting started right now, and Alexis is noting that locally we do use second player seer rules, meaning if you are the second player, in addition to being able to draw a card on your first turn before game start, you're able to look at the top card of your spellbook or atlas and then choose whether or not you want to put it back on the top of that deck or send it to the bottom of the deck. Alexis, for some reason, is not a huge fan of that rule, and I'm not quite sure why. I think maybe she just thinks that it's not necessary. It's not a necessary advantage for the second player. A lot of the most competitive players in Sorcery think that it statistically balances out the advantage of going first, though. So we have adopted it locally, and in most of our organized events and tournaments in casual play, we end up using that rule. So it looks like a turn 1 Animist with a Bedrock, turn 1 with the Harbinger for a Lighthouse, summoning a Hauntless Head. It is worth noting that the Harbinger did get a decent portal roll at game setup here, landing it right in front of the Animist. So turn 2, Alexis playing a second Bedrock towards the center. There's the random roll for the Hauntless Head. It gets a lucky roll, and it is in range to attack into the Bedrock on this turn. Harbinger, second sight, tapping for Fields of Fixus. And I think they have a quick conversation here about whether or not the fields can silence a Bedrock. Bedrock specifically says it can't be modified or destroyed. According to the Codex, silencing is a form of modification. So the Bedrock is immune to that and does not get silenced. So just asking for some quick... they're just asking for some quick clarification locally. And then Harbinger playing... an Orm Infestor from their portal. Again, just a really advantageous play there, getting to play it under that site, and then attacking in with the Hauntless Head for 2 points. So 3 points total that turn. The Animist choosing to play to the side there, in a fairly standard opening on site placement. Turn 3 landmass, and it looks like they're going to play in a T formation there, completing the kind of just like fleshing out those center 3 columns. Poison Well does do a point of damage to Harbinger, but the Orm Infestor at end of this turn that we're on is going to end up healing them back up here. Looks like a Mountain Peaks from the Harbinger player. Playing a Phase Assassin into the Void within strike range from a couple of the Animist sites, and I believe passing turn back because that's all their mana for the turn. Hauntless Head is not in a position to do anything, so play passes back to the Animist. Looks like they're drawing a sight for turn. So they tap for a sight that brings them to 5 mana at this point on turn 4. Another Poison Well. It gets off 2 points of damage on Harbinger. So the Orm Infestor continuing to be a problem for Animist. They either need a way to deal with that, or they need to be able to provide enough pressure coming in to offset that. And they're currently on the back foot here. Harbinger has the 3 pieces on the board to the Animists. Nothing currently. It looks like there was a Root Spider being considered. Instead, casting a Berry as a Spirit, 3-power minion. Random rolling for the Hauntless Head. Hauntless Head gets sent into a corner, so likely not able to make use of that this turn. Tapping for an Elder Ruins. Elder Ruins allowing you to cheat in a Shoggoth from your collection. You still have to pay to cast it, and you have to meet the requirement, which is to sacrifice a minion there. You can do that. Looks like the Harbinger play trying to cast Abyssal Assault. Unfortunately, they're reviewing it right now. Abyssal Assault requires a monster to key off of, and they don't have a monster in play. They only have the Phase Assassin is immortal, so they wind that play back, and instead the Phase Assassin just moves in to the step, which the Berry Spirit cannot guard, and attacks for 3. So no plays that turn from the Harbinger player, despite having 4 mana in their mana pool, passing turn back here. Still in a pretty good position, Harbinger player, and generating quite a bit of board advantage this game, especially with that Orm Infestor, which hasn't been answered yet. I think the Animist player has the tools to take care of that. I did see a Root Spider that was potentially going to come down last turn, but that didn't end up materializing. Tapping for a Funeral Pyre, that takes Animist to 6 mana. So 6 mana in the mana pool. It's a lot to work with here. We could potentially see that Root Spider coming in to challenge the Orm Infestor, and then another 3-drop, possibly. Instead, just moving forward with the Berry Spirit, and then just passing turn. So not playing a spell there, which I think is going to come back to haunt the Animist player. You can't really continue to give the Harbinger more of a tempo advantage than they already have here. They already have advantage on the board, and they're just going to continue to press it. Harbinger tapping for a Lighthouse, and then the Phase Assassin just attacking in again to that freshly played Funeral Pyre site. Casting a Shoggoth, I think from hand, so not casting it from the Elder Ruins, but just casting it directly from hand instead. They do have mana. Looks like they do have Threshold for that, and it does have Void Walk, so it can be cast into the void in that corner, and it does get the casting benefit from that portal all the way in the corner from Harbinger. Animist playing another site, Fertile Earth, giving them a lot of mana to play with. We're looking at seven mana now at this point. Root Spider coming down to get the Phase Assassin under control, and then I think also to threaten to prevent the Shoggoth from coming in and attacking, which is not a bad placement. It's a decent placement for that. The Hauntless Head finally getting a good roll to start the turn, and is in a position to do something here. So I think, unfortunately, what we're going to see here from the Harbinger is the return of Abyssal Assault. And Abyssal Assault specifies that it strikes an adjacent square, and it doesn't matter in which zone the square is in. So they are able to use that to clear out the Root Spider, and then attack in with both the Phase Assassin, the Shoggoth, and the Hauntless Head. And that will take the Animist to door. So Animist in a pretty bad position here, unless they have a board wipe of some kind. I don't see a way out for them. They do have a lot of mana to work with here. They have 7 mana in their pool. That is a lot of mana to try to do something here. But they're casting a Gigantism. I believe they're casting it as a spirit, and then they're casting an Exorcist. The Exorcist ability technically it would clear out one of those adjacent spirits. It is possible it would have been possible for them to reorder that sequencing a little bit differently, or play the I think they would have had to play the Exorcist on the Funeral Pyre first to not sweep out their own spirits. But it looks like neither of the players catch this game here, and I believe they're pretty close to the end here. So Sphere of Animosity, and that's going to be game on this turn. Attacking in for the final strike on the Avatar. Sphere of Animosity prevents any of the other units from defending. So it was a quick game. It was a quick game for them. I think the Animist just ran into some problems. They kept ramping up with their sights and mana, but then unfortunately they didn't feel like they ever had anything to really do on those turns when they had more mana. And then I think that Root Spider maybe could have come in a couple turns earlier to take care of the Arm Infester. But they pivoted away from that strategy for some reason. Maybe because they didn't want to just trade the Root Spider with it. Maybe they thought it was more valuable as a control piece on the board or something. So that was the first game in this tournament series, and we'll see you for round 2.